Living God, ruler of all things in heaven and earth, hear the prayers for this parish family. Strengthen the faithful, arouse the careless, and restore the penitent. Grant all things necessary for our common life, and bring us all into one heart and mind within your holy church, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And now I call upon the clerk to open the meeting and tell us what the roll is. We are filming this, so people are watching it live. Welcome to those who may be watching it live who cannot be with us today. And it will be recorded, so it will be able to be seen later. And we're going to encourage you to, anyone who will speak, please stand and use the mic so people can see and hear you. We have you to come forward.
I call this meeting to order, and we have 53 members here that are signed up. We have 4 teams, and we have 2 guests.
Wonderful. Our next order of business, I'm going to call upon our former clerk, because you did the mass, so you go front and center. Candace?
In your annual report, I believe on page 42, are the minutes from last year's meeting. These minutes were reviewed after the meeting last year by all of the speakers and the key participants. May I hear a motion to approve the minutes from last year? Pat, Pam Atwood approved motion, and Victoria Fisk seconded the motion. Is there any discussion regarding the minutes? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any nays? And any abstentions? Okay, we'll report it unanimous with no abstentions.
So our next order of business is our wardens to come and just offer a few words. The tradition, you wrote your report, but it's particularly poignant because both Marcia and Dan will be retiring as wardens. We will be doing something a little later to honor their service, but for now, we're going to just come up.
It's been a great 6 years as warden, and I appreciate your faith in me to let me stay for 6 years. And this next year is going to be a very, very important one for all of us, and especially for our church building. So I don't know what else to say except that you're a great family. You're a great warden.
It seems like the past few years have gone very quickly, and I thought I had one more year to remain as a warden, but I thought it would be good to have 2 new wardens and have Father on and get them going through the year so that we could have a good fresh start when we get going. But it's going to be a good year.
Okay, the next part is, I mentioned in my sermon about the year of Thanksgiving and celebration and transitions. For 2 of these, we're going to ask for real-time people that have passion around this. I would like to take any names, and I'll put them right here so we have them. For celebration, again, is all the celebrations that will relate specifically to the planning for our anniversary, which is mostly in October. Who might be interested in doing that? Anyone want to be on the planning committee? Sue Ostrow, Kat Talbot. Did anybody else raise a hand? The Eatons? Kurt. Anybody else interested in helping with the celebrations? Anyone else at this side of the table? I'm just going around, taking a look. Hmm? Okay. Oh, Candace.
Kim Sullivan raised her hand too.
Who?
Kim Sullivan.
Pam Sullivan.
No, Kim.
Kim Sullivan. Duh. I thought, who is Pam Sullivan? Somebody snuck in. We had a name change. Fran? Fran, did you want to be part of it? Francine, did you say Francine or Fran Roddick?
They're all saying, making sure you got me.
Okay. Okay, Kim Sullivan. Anybody else? Going once, going twice, 3 times. This will be our planning committee. It's a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish. It should be a good group.
Yes.
All right, thank you all for volunteering. Now the next part is Thanksgiving. And again, what this is that's a time where we can figure out ways to tell our stories of our history, tell our stories of who we are now in this time, and stories of what we might dream in the future. Who would like to be part of that group? That's a little more nebulous in terms of, that's a little harder. We'll figure it out when we, Marcia, yes?
Actually, could you take my name off celebrations and put it on storytelling or whatever that one is?
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
No substitutions.
Should we let her do it?
Just put her on both.
Ron, throw me in there too.
Okay. Eaton Square, look, we got it. Chip Eye.
Another child that, I'll do it. That's
You will?
stories. Tom Atwood Jr. said he would.
On this?
Yep.
On that one.
Oh, he'd be great.
He said possible.
People are watching. Nice. Others? All right, we have a small review, we'll figure out how this work will be about, and we will all involve all of us eventually. Thank you for that. Our next presentation will be from a parish report. We're going to hear from the president of the Commons Community Development Corporation, Commons CDC. Boy, I'm making it sound really important, Rob. So, here you go.
I'm not gonna bore you with all the details of what we've been doing, but my name is Rob Mangiafico. I'm a longtime parishioner here, former co-warden with Fire Department. And I'm working with Father Ron and with Betty and a few other people to work on the affordable housing development over by the rectory property. And it's been an exciting year. We've accomplished a lot for the timeline of affordable housing. So in the world of affordable housing, they say from when you get started, it usually takes anywhere from 5 to 10 years to be able to start construction and start building, which, you know, it seems like an incredibly long time. We've been doing this for 3 years, and we're hoping to be able to break ground at the end of this year or even early next year at the latest. So it's exciting. And so we've kind of been moving at a pretty quick pace. We have approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission here at Hebron. It was unanimous approval. We were able to get that in one meeting. We were told to expect 6 to 8 months. We're going to need a lawyer, maybe 2, and it was going to be this long drawn-out process that was going to be adversarial. Well, we worked with the town, we worked with everybody, we talked to everyone, kept them in the loop, and in 2 hours, the Planning and Zoning were excited about what we were doing and gave us unanimous approval, which is unheard of, right? Yes.
You did a great job.
It was fun. We also got a tax agreement with the town of Hebron, which is an important part. because the word affordable means that we're going to be charging less than what most other places would be charging for rent. So it's tough to make this work financially. So what helps is when a town is supportive of this, they give a tax break to the development so that when we're charging those lower rents, we're not going to go out of business, which happens in places where there are high taxes on affordable housing. So we worked with the town again, with the Board of Selectmen, or the town council as it's called now, and in a few months, we were able to get approval by 4/5 of the Board of Selectmen to get a friendly tax agreement for the development. So that's just another step in the process. And we are paying taxes. So we could have asked them to exclude all the taxes, but we knew we wanted to give back to the community. Because part of what we're doing here, right? This is about building a community. It's an extension of what St. Peter's is doing here. The important work of helping those in need, of seeing a need in the community, and using our resources, our land, our expertise, those kind of things to make a difference. So we knew we wanted to give back because we want to make it so that this is, the people that are living there are part of this community and giving back to the community as best they can. So we are going to be paying taxes each year. It would be lower than if it was a commercial development, but we are going to be giving back to the town as much as possible without making it, onerous or very hard for us to meet those financial needs.
So will the land remain with the parish? Yeah.
Will the land remain with the parish and the building
Yes,
part of the
so
501(c)(3)?
So let's talk about that
Okay.
real quick. So what we have in place, so when we first started doing this, we said this is going to be a lot of work. It's probably something that St. Peter's isn't going to want to do directly because it's really involved in everything else. So we started a nonprofit organization that was going to do this work. So the land is owned by St. Peter's. It will continue to be owned by St. Peter's until St. Peter's decides that they don't want that land. So what we did is we signed what's called a long-term lease agreement. So it's a 50 or 60-year lease. 65-year lease that leases the land to the Commons Community Development Corporation specifically for affordable housing, and that's it. So Commons will basically be the mortgage holder and the building manager and all those other things. St. Peter's still owns the land, but the lease gives Commons the ability to operate, to build, and do those things only for affordable housing again. And if for some reason we can't do the affordable housing, then the land just gets reverted back to St. Peter's and the lease is null and void. So there's no issue where there's going to be a casino down the street or something like that. It's only for that specific purpose. So it took us a good year to get that lease agreement, all the legalese done with it, but that's what we did.
And St. Peter's will always have representation on the board of Commons.
Yes, our bylaws do state that at least one member of St. Peter's Parish will be on the board of Commons CDC at all times. Right now, there's two, me and Betty, and also Father Ron. So we have a large representation right now.
So will any of those be paid positions going forward?
What's on the board now?
No.
Because we're nonprofit. The question was, would we get paid? I would love it if I could. No, it's a work of passion for the board members. We may hire employees, we may have an executive director or a project manager, those things as things go on, but the board will always be an actual position. So if you're not aware of what we're doing, I'll really quick. We're looking to build a 48-unit new construction. It's going to have some townhouses in the front. You may have seen pictures. I'm sorry that I don't have a flashy presentation, but I didn't think it was appropriate right now. Because we're still designing things, but there'll be some townhouses in the front to look like the rectory. So from the street, it'll have the same kind of design as the rectory house does, and then there'll be apartments that'll be behind that. And those will be 48 new units. And then we're also looking to use the rectory as well to kind of rehab that, fix it up a little bit, and use that as potentially one or two more apartments as well. These will all be rentals. There'll be no ownership since the land isn't owned by Commons CDC, so these would all be rentals. And when you hear the word affordable housing, you might be like, oh, what does that mean? For a town like Hebron, a rural town, affordable housing is basically a way to reduce the rents for people that can't afford to live in this town. Now, those could be someone working at the flour mill, that's making minimum wage, or just above minimum wage, and they can't afford to buy a house here in Hebron, and there's almost no rental market here. So the affordable housing could go to someone like that. It could go to someone, a senior here in town or in the surrounding area that's looking to downsize because they can't maintain their house anymore, and they're looking to downsize. We are going to have a few units that will be what are called market rate, which means there is no restriction on those units. Anyone that can pay the rent is welcome to live there as well. So we don't know how many that's going to be yet. We're still working with the state on all of that, but we're hoping to have at least 5 of the units just be market rate. And then the other affordable ones will be a percentage of the income of the people that are looking to rent that. And then we're going to be working with the state to get some vouchers and things like that to help us bring in more money so that we can continue to operate that development. And so you're going to have, there could be people that are working here in the area. It could be seniors. We're looking to do something with veterans possibly for a few units. So we're looking to do a couple of units for veterans. So we're really just trying to see what is the need in the community, what can we accomplish, and what is the state willing to help us do as well. So it's kind of a balancing. And like I said, we're hoping to break ground at the end of this year or early next year. Again, this is ambitious. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that is our plan right now. So right now we're partnering with another nonprofit organization. They're a national organization. They're named Grow America, and they do development and oversee construction because Father Ron and I are probably not the right ones to oversee people swinging hammers and putting in pipes and all that stuff. Okay, well maybe you are. I'm not. I can do the internet stuff. So we brought on a partner that knows how to do this kind of work, and they're very good at it. They're also a nonprofit where our values align, so they're helping us do that. And what we're doing right now is we're interviewing construction managers. So a construction manager is going to oversee the construction of the development, and they're going to put together a very detailed estimate of what this will cost, and we're going to bring that to the state, and we're going to hope that the state will say yes, and we'll get our funding, and we'll move forward. And in parallel, we'll also be working on some of the wells for the grant that we got through the town to develop more water, not only for the affordable housing, but again, if we find a lot of water, which we think we will, Kurt, our expert, has told us there's probably tons of water, then we'll be able to give some of that back to the town center, which is also out of water. So Hebron's kind of stuck right now. There's development is not moving forward because there's just not enough water. So, and again, that's because of what we here at St. Peter's decided to do to give back to the community, to be that resource that people see. And I put it in my report, but I can't tell you the number of conversations that I've had with people around the town that have said, like, I can't believe St. Peter's is leading this. It's just wonderful to see that. It's again a testament to how do we open our doors and bring the community in and make St. Peter's a part of that community, and have other people that aren't part of our parish almost feel like they're a member of this parish. From our dinners, from our outreach projects that we do, and this kind of work as well. It's very important. So I'm very excited to be a part of that. That's what kind of gives me the motivation to be unpaid and do the work.
You deserve to be paid.
I'll double my salary next time. But really, I wanted to just open up to see if there's any questions, because we really want to make sure that everyone understands what we're doing, is comfortable with it, and that there's no rumors going around that are untrue about what we're doing. So if there are any questions, please ask them now.
Just two more.
Okay. 3-part question, Mr. Bowler.
So is there a mechanism at some point, assuming that you make some money with this project, that St. Peter's gets a rental on the property?
No, but let me explain.
Okay.
So when let's say the state says, we want you to build this, we're going to fund it, we're going to get all the money, we're going to do that. One thing that's going to happen is that at the time of the closing, where we sign all the documents and say, okay, let's put a shovel in the ground, we're going to pay St. Peter's the appraised value of the land when the appraisal was done, and that money is going to be put towards supporting housing and clergy in perpetuity. So that was one of the things we had to work on with St. Peter's, was because that land was gifted for a priest to work the land, live there, and have his farm and everything else. And that's kind of an antiquated, idea. We had to appeal to the state, and the state said, okay, well, we'll let you put the affordable housing on there, but you still need to use the proceeds of the sale through the lease to support clergy going forward. So that's the payment that would happen. Now, as far as if we were to make tons of money, which we're not going to make tons of money, trust me. But even if we were, it's a nonprofit. All that money goes back into the development. It doesn't come to common CDC. We can use it for management of the property. And we have a lot of great ideas about how we can enhance community and do some really great things if we were to have extra money. But we've run the numbers, and it's a very tight operation. But none of that money it doesn't come back to common CDC. It's part of the operation. We're going to have a management company that's going to run that, because I, again, don't know how to manage tenants. That's not my job. So we would hire a management company to do that. There's upkeep, there's all those other things, there's enhancements. So any of that money will just go right back in to support those residents.
And do you have a rendering of the project yet?
Do we have a what?
Yes.
A rendering?
We do.
We do.
We do have renderings, and maybe I can, while the reports keep going, maybe I can go make a few copies for people to see what that looks like. Okay? And just so you know, in terms of the endowment has, a separate whole endowment has been created. Any interest made from that endowment will be earmarked toward clergy housing, which is our largest budget item. And that we figure will pay for, it'll generate about $30,000 a year of new income and a new source in perpetuity that we control, and we have already opened that endowment. It's already exists. Okay? Albert had a question?
Just to say that we've already, Common CDC has already paid St. Peter's $21,000.
Right, toward this, before we even sign.
As option payments,
Right.
these payments.
So until we break ground, St. Peter's will give annual payments to, it's Housing Corporation will give annual payments to St. Peter's. So that's, that's there until we break ground.
Sure.
Yes, Albert, that's something.
There was a discussion about, environmentally appropriate materials or even enhanced environmental appropriateness of the project. Where does that stand at this point in time?
Sure, great question. So one of the things that we're hoping to do with this development is build something that is sustainable. So you'll hear words like passive house, which means that the way that it's built, it's insulated so well, there's very little drafts and everything else, so it creates the ability to have to use less heat to keep it heated. So that does cost a little more to build, obviously. We're looking to do solar as well. We're working with Eversource to do that. And we're looking at design elements that incorporate the outside world to bring that in as much as possible. Things like a balcony or larger windows, or making sure we keep as much green area as we can, because this is a rural area, right? I mean, it's not a city project. So those are the things that we're working on. We're hoping to get that cost estimate this spring, as to say, if we were to build this the way we hope to build it, how much will it cost? And once we have that number, we're gonna bring that to the state and say, this is what we'd like to build, this is how much it costs, can you fund this? Hopefully the answer is yes. We think it's going to be almost yes, with maybe a few tweaks. But if the state comes back and says, no, we won't fund it, you need to find other savings, then we may have to adjust some of those things. We're hoping not to. We're going to push for as much of an eco-friendly design, sustainability, those kind of things. Because it's important not only to what we talked about with the St. Peter's parishioners and the community, but the town government and people in town are very excited about that too. They're passionate about that. And we are as well. So we're hoping to maintain that.
Can you speak a little bit about the grants we've gotten so far, just briefly?
Sure. So besides the $2.1 million we got from the state which is to the town of Hebron, right, Commons is going to be doing the work to find more water. The Department of Housing gave us a $300,000 grant to get started for what's called pre-development work. What was interesting about that is the Department of Housing usually gives out loans, but the commissioner of the Department of Housing felt so strongly about this project and the passion behind it that she gave it as a grant, it usually just never happens for affordable housing. We received a number of other grants from Housing Ministries of New England, a nonprofit organization that helps housing organizations. We've received a few grants from the Hartford Foundation. Eversource is pledged to do all of the design work to support our sustainability and our solar work as well, which again, they usually don't do. So that was another source of grants. What's that? And so another one that we applied for was called the Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston. It's a very competitive program in New England, and they give up to $750,000 in grants towards construction. And we were one of the ones that were awarded that grant as well. This year, yeah, just a couple months ago. So we didn't think we had a shot, but again, they saw the viability of this, the passion of the project, how much work we put into it. And so we're excited because that's another $750,000 that the state doesn't have to pay. So it helps our case to be able to do the sustainability things that we want to do, which we know will cost more up front, but in the long run will save us money because heating costs will be lower. And one of the things we're doing for this affordable housing is that Commons CDC is going to pay for all of the utilities as well. So that's going to all be put into the factor for rent. So the lower we can make those costs operating going forward, the better it is for us to be able to operate long term. Because one of the requirements is that we have to operate this for 30 years as affordable housing. And so we have to come up with a plan, how do we make this viable for 30 years financially? And it's difficult. So all these kind of things do help us be able to have a great plan to not only just operate, but to be able to operate in such a way that it enhances the lives of the people that are living there. Mrs. Atwood.
Thank you, Rob and Betty and Father Ron and everybody who's been involved in this. It's such a wonderful opportunity for our community. I'm a long-time resident here. I know that you're as much support as we've already gotten from the town of Hebron. There are several community members who are afraid of, well, let's face it, a little NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard. I have referred them all to the website for more information, but do you have any language that we as community members might share with some of our friends and neighbors who are like, what the heck is going on over there? You know, now we're going to have all of these, you know, low income, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we get these questions all the time, right? And there's always going to be questions about things. There's always going to be people that are against it or have a preconceived notion of it. So one of the things that we're going to do is on March 12th, we're actually going to have a community conversation here at St. Peter's in the hall. We'll be advertising it. We'll be inviting the community to come in. We'll give an update of kind of where we're at, but mostly to have that conversation, to ask the questions, let people ask those questions, to answer them. If we have those answers, we'll get them the answers. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing. I'm not an expert at this by any means. We'll be bringing in some people that are experts on that to discuss it. But one thing that I think some people think, so you think, if you think of the past and there were the things that you might have heard like the projects or Section 8 or all these words that come out that have a bad connotation because of the way they were run in the past. Remember that we're a rural community. So we can't take somebody from, let's just say, an inner city, drop them into Hebron with no car, no resources, and say, well, good luck. You know, you're part of the Hebron community. That's unfair to them, and that's unfair to our community. So the people that are going to live here are going to have some kind of a support network, whether that's a vehicle, or maybe there's family that live here that are helping them because they're not able to live here, so they live far away, and the family is having to drive to take care of them. But the people that are going to live in our community, they have to have the means to be able to live in the community, because we don't have public transportation that's 7 days a week. So you can't put someone in a house that has no ability to drive or to get anywhere, or at least has a support system either in the town or comes with maybe an in-house support or something like that are being supported by the state that can help them. So that's one thing that dispels that myth. And again, affordable housing isn't just giving someone, here you go, free housing. It's reducing their rent so that they don't pay more than 30% of their income towards housing. It's been shown in studies that when you start paying over 30%, 40, 50%, it's really hard to live because you're spending so much money just to keep your house, whether that's an apartment, a house, whatever it is. And we found that I think it's over 25% of people in Hebron are extremely cost burdened, and I think I can't remember the numbers. If Donna Jolly was here, she would quote them, but it's a larger number that are just cost burdened, which means there's a large number of people in Hebron that are spending more than 30% of their income on their house or their apartment. So again, we're providing the means for someone like, let's take Angel, for example. The perfect example of what we're looking to do. Angel is a respected member of the community, a hardworking custodial staff at RAM, has a beautiful family, but can't afford to live here if he had to pay for a house in Hebron. So that is the kind of person that we're looking to support, someone that may work in and around the area, but says, I can't afford to live where I work. Well, we're trying to give them an option. And again, just realize it's only 48 apartment units. So it's not like we're just bringing in 2,000 people into the town and like doubling the size of Hebron. It's 48, which is a start. So we're hoping to do this as kind of a pilot and see how this does. And one thing that's exciting is that Hebron is very supportive of this in general. Some of the other towns, Marlborough, Columbia, Colchester, they've been very adamantly against this. A lot of that NIMBY stuff and a lot of, untrue things that are said, that this is going to bring crime, this is going to bring down our property levels and all those things. And there's been studies that have shown that that's not the case at all. If it's done properly, if it's planned out, and again, if you make it so that the people that are moving in feel like they're a part of the community and the community welcomes them. So that's kind of the work that we're doing at Commons. A lot of developers don't do that work. They just build the building and say, well, we got the building go. Our goal is to really figure out how do we integrate people into the community, and using St. Peter's as a model, right, of how do we open those doors and make them feel welcome and make the people of Hebron feel welcome that these people are joining the community as well. Hope that answers the question.
Normally, in a project like this, the lower
Up to your mouth.
The lower percentage of the project is affordable housing. But in this case, I hear you say that maybe 4 or 5 units will be market rate.
Mm-hmm.
And the second part of my question, what is the range of the square footage of the units?
Sure, great question. So, when people build, when you see, in Colchester, for example, they put in a few affordable housing developments. A lot of those that are being put in are being done by commercial developers. So what they do is they'll say, well, you have to do a minimum of 30%. So they'll say, we'll do 30% affordable so that they can get all of the tax breaks, the money from the state, get through all the planning and zoning and those kind of things, and then 70% are full market rate units, or whatever the market will support, whether those are luxury apartments or whatever. In our case, we're going to be doing 90% affordable and 10% market rate. And when we say market rate, really what it's going to be is probably about 80% of what people would be paying normally for that apartment in the surrounding area. So it's already going to be lower than what the market is. But the reason we're doing the market rate is because the people in the community had said we would love to have more rental options and not be restricted to income or specific people. So we wanted to do that. And what it also does is those market rate units are the same units as the affordable. We don't build the special nice ones for the market rate people. Everybody is all mixed. So what it does is it takes away that stigma that where people say, well, that's where the affordable people live. Well, in this case, there'll be a mix of affordable, not affordable, whatever the opposite of affordable is, I guess, will be mixed together. And what it does is it just takes away that stigma of that's where affordable housing people live. This is going to be what's called mixed income housing. And what we found is when you do this, it really makes it feel more community-like. And there isn't that stigma. It's just another option for people in the area to afford that. As far as the sizes, for the majority of them are going to be 1 and 2 bedroom units. I believe, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but most of them are 1 and 2 bedroom units. We do have a few 3 bedroom units, and the rectory may be a 4 bedroom unit as it is now. So, but the majority of those are 1 and 2 bedroom units. So one of the NIMBY kind of questions was, people were like, you're going to bring in 300 kids and overwhelm our school systems. Well, we're probably not going to do that with 1 and 2 bedroom units. Now, if they were mostly 3 bedroom, we would bring in more children, that's true. But we all know that the numbers have been declining in Hebron in children, and if we bring in, say, 15 or 20 or maybe 25 kids at most, the school systems will be able to accept that. It's not like we're gonna all put them in grade 3. They're gonna be from, kindergarten to grade 12. So I think 25 students across 3 different schools is probably not gonna be a burden to the school system. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, yes.
Anything else?
Just to remind you all that March 12th, we will be here back and we dig more deeply into this, but anybody have a pressing question right now? Back to Atwood Corner.
Excuse me, Atwoodville.
Just in general, I know a certain percentage has to be affordable houses in the town to get benefits and so forth. Do we know how much this county housing's development will impact Hebron itself?
Impacted how?
Isn't there a certain percentage per town that needs to be affordable?
Oh, okay, yes. So there is a statute by the state of Connecticut looking to increase affordability in towns in Connecticut. I don't think this will satisfy the full percentage, but what it does is it shows the commitment. So the state of Connecticut is looking for towns to make these kind of initiatives. So this is again something that the town wanted to do as well, but they knew it'd be really hard if the town pursued affordable housing. You've got to go through referendum. It all has to be, and then that brings a lot of angst by the citizens in Hebron. So that's kind of why we did this as a nonprofit, so that we're not doing it as the town. So again, we're supporting the town's needs. The town has a need for affordable housing. Outside of Stonecroft, we have very limited affordable housing, if any.
I'll give you the numbers. Sure. The numbers on that are right now, Hebron has about 3% affordable housing, and the majority of that is right here, 25 units at Stonecroft. That's the majority of it. If we were to meet the state's target goal, to be at the max, they're saying 750 units across the town. So 48 units is a drop in the bucket. But by the town doing this, it allows the town to apply for other monies and other projects that they're trying to get done across the town. To not be in compliance, there could be things that come down the road that we don't know about. That the town might try to apply for that might be not eligible, because they're going to be looking closely at towns that are at least putting in a good faith effort. So this would be a very positive.
And one thing to realize too is that with the town isn't putting up any money to support this, so there's no, we're not putting it on the taxpayers of Hebron to support this development. It's being done completely outside of all town funds. And again, we're going to be paying taxes, so we're trying to give back to the town. So, that's another reason why we did this, is it doesn't have to come from the taxpayers. We're doing it through state and federal funds and grants and loans and all that fun stuff. So it's even less of a burden than if the town were to take this on themselves. Mr. Eaton.
Rob.
Yes.
Can you explain the water situation? We've drilled a well. Will that support the new beginning section of the development, or will there be further wells drilled?
Great question, Mr. Eaton. He's asking about the wells and the status. So we did drill one test well with the limited funds we had on the rectory property, and we determined that we need about 10 gallons per minute to support the development, and that well was producing around 25 gallons per minute. And the water quality was also good as well. So for this development, we need to have 2 wells, because it's a community, so you need 2 wells that are operating. There'll be a storage tank for storage volume as well. And then there needs to be a 3rd well that's a backup well in case one of the other wells were to fail. So we still need to drill a 2nd well, which we'll be drilling a 2nd well both on the rectory property, and as part of that $2.1 million grant, we'll be drilling 1 or 2 wells back behind the cemetery on that land as well, where Kurt has determined that that's where all the geological lines and everything goes, and he thinks there's just a huge source of water there. So we're excited to do that. Huge. It's all because of Kurt. So that's the status of it, and we're hoping to get the state to finally sign off on all the documents. So the state's been kind of the slowest part of this. We've been ready to, we're literally ready to drive the trucks and start drilling, but the state has to approve the grant, and the state of Connecticut Health Department has to sign off on the wells, and so we're just waiting right now for final signatures to start to dig at least one or two more test wells to start that work.
How about fuel?
What's that?
Fuel.
Fuel? So it'll be, it's going to be, as far as fuel goes, we're going to be doing that mostly as electric. It'll be electric.
So the
Heating, yeah. So, and because we're doing it as what's called passive house, because it'll be good insulation and not a lot of drafts, the cost of that heating is going to be much lower than if it was just built to normal standards for like a house or a building as well.
Isn't there gas on the street?
There's no natural gas on the street, is there? Oh, there is, okay.
Yes, no?
Yes, there is, I'm sorry, but I don't think that was planned as
Can't
part
tell
of
about
that. But again, we haven't finalized anything yet, so none of this has been finalized as far as what the heating source will be. And we'll have solar as well, so we're gonna have solar panels to help with that, to offset some of that electric costs as well.
I think we're gonna probably need to put a comma here, because the annual meeting, we still have a lot of reports to get through, so I encourage you to put March 12th on your calendar. You can come back and you'll learn more, and that won't be the only session. We're gonna keep doing this now periodically, so the community knows what's going on, the parish knows as well.
And just reach out to any of us, myself or Betty or Father Ron, with any questions you have, and we'll be more than happy to answer. Thanks, I want to keep everything moving, thank you.
Thank you.
For our next order of business, we're turning our attention to buildings and grounds, and I'm gonna call upon Kurt, as well as Steve Mandra, who is our artist, woodworker in residence.
You can stand there, but are you going to, bring that in front so that.
Father Ron's gonna do a little.
Okay. You can be a little bit farther back, Ron.
Because nobody else can see it.
There we go, there we go.
This is the architect's rendering of how this church is gonna look when everything is all done later this year, before October. Okay. In terms of the renovations, we have put in a few lights overhead. You might have noticed that. We've redid the sanctuary flooring, and in doing that, we found that within 10 feet, we had a 3-foot drop towards the back of the sanctuary flooring, and right where the bell tower is. So we've accomplished quite a bit, and we're continuing on. And things we're going to be focusing on now are really, we've removed the pews and up front and so forth. Anyway, what we're looking at now is probably, Steve's here. We're going to probably first look at getting new railing installed. That new railing will have, the spindles of the new railing will be the spindles that were in the old railing. But because we have a curve on the top and bottom of the railing will be new stuff. And Steve's got something up his sleeve. Oh, do you want to bring in your 2 pieces of art? Yeah, let's do that.
Show and tell.
We have some show and tell here. And I'm trying to think, maybe what we'll do is, I think he can hold it up and we'll let the camera see it, but afterwards we'll have him out here. He's got a bottom piece that's, it's small, but it's gonna give you an idea of what the base of that will look like. And he's also got, hold on. Well, there's the old spindle. Right here, let me have that piece so I can hold it up. This is a solid piece of wood, and he's going to have pieces that, how long, about 5.5 feet long?
Yeah,
Or 55 inches.
there's about 20 feet of railing total along the edge. It goes along the curve in the front of the church right now. So
Anyway,
all the pieces are cut right now, but I'm in the process of getting ready to set up to attach the spindles to them. I have to make a top rail, so.
Yeah, you can just keep that there. You can see he's got a piece of wood here. This is cherry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm missing the joke here. There we go.
He's doing the Vanna White thing.
Anyway, you can see this piece is, was it 8 inches, about 8 inches wide?
Yeah, but it basically starts out wide, but you need a wider piece to cut a 5-inch.
Because we have to cut the arc into it, and it's a solid piece. You know, the piece is what, about 4 inches wide, or the top?
Yeah, it's up to 5 inches wide.
5 inches
Same
wide.
width as that piece there, so.
Same as that, but it's gotta be cut on an arc, so he has to get a wider piece to be able to cut it from. And anyway, the woods are very heavy, let me tell you something. So we're kinda, I don't know if you have a schedule, but we think in the not too distant future, these will be done and maybe actually getting installed, probably by the end of February?
Yeah, the rail will be done by then.
Yeah, we'll have this in by the end of February. Now, next step is, we're done with that. You can come up and take a look at it later. That type of wood is popular. It's a little bit, probably less expensive, but just as strong and easier to work with. Anyway, what I want to do is, where did that go? There we go. The next thing we're going to do is when you look at this, remember we've got a new canopy that's going to go in. Well, in order to put a new canopy in, and actually, should we tell them?
I did it already.
Oh, okay,
A
right.
little bit, I gave a preview, so.
Okay.
Baldacchino.
Baldacchino. Anyway, our new Baldacchino, which will be second only to St. Peter's in Rome.
High aspiration.
Yes. In order to put that up, we have to take the existing Baldacchino out, and we're going to be doing that very, very soon. So one of these days, I'm going to meet with Buildings and Grounds on Tuesday, and we're going to come up with a schedule to do that. The electric's been disabled. We're all set to go. So you may be coming in, and all of a sudden, like, it's going to look radically different. We are going to leave the pillars up because it'll leave something remaining. But anyway, that's the first step of getting into putting the new one up. It's going to be a while because we've still got a lot of work to do with getting this constructed. Is that right?
Right.
Yes, a lot of work.
Well, I mean,
Steve has a lot of work to do. You want to talk about it?
I'll go through it tomorrow.
Yeah, yes.
Hold on. Well, my name is Steve Weinrock. My wife and Barbara have been members of the church since we moved to the area about 25 years ago. So I've been active times in the church. And a while back, I wandered into the same room and Father Perry said, "Well, I heard you do woodworking. And you're retired." At that time. So I guess I sort of volunteered. So I'm not sure what you volunteer for, but looking forward to it. So basically, this section through here is, kind of going to be all gone starting out right now. We're starting out, you said building the railing, which will be the community rail that goes around the edge. Hopefully within a few weeks, those should be pretty close, at least the woodworking part of it done, maybe not totally finished and painted, but ready to go. Following that, I think the next thing we're looking to do, I've already ordered the wood. I think Kirk and I might go pick it up this week to build this top piece across the top here, which will be the canopy going across the top, what do you call it? Baldacchino. So basically, that would be the next piece we put in place to kind of finish it. Right now, currently, there's a doorway right through here that goes through. It's a rather Gothic arch across the top of it. So basically, what ends up going there is there'll be a set of what looks like cabinets all the way across here that stick out about 11 to 15 inches in different areas. And each of these will be built up kind of a laminate shape and built to make the cabinets across here. This one will have a door that basically when you open it, you go into the back room from. This one here will be a storage cabinet for the front of the church to keep certain things you want to have in the church for, altar guild. And the center right now is another cabinet / top piece. So it'll also have, probably we'll end up having a platform behind here, probably behind the altar to set things on top of. So that's kind of where we are right now. I have a definite endpoint here when we're having having the anniversary for the church. Looking forward, I'm really looking to get it done quite a bit before that, because I have a lot of other things going on, but I like to, definitely looking forward to doing it. I have a lot of interest in, I kind of like church architecture and cathedral architecture, so I'm really interested in working on it, so thank you all for giving me a chance.
I just want to set the record straight on how this happened. Steve came in and and I said, I want to show you something. I showed him the model and I showed him this and explained what we were trying to do. And he said, I want to do this as my gift, a legacy that I want to leave with the parish. So he's doing all this woodworking except for materials for us, which if we had to pay would be enormous. So we owed him a huge bit of gratitude.
Start off with fire. Yes, fire and.
So we'd like to give you an update on the fire situation. That we had the rectory, it wasn't arson, for those who do not know, that actually intentionally set the rectory on fire in the back. And they were real brilliant, by the way. Let me tell you, these were really intelligent, well thought out criminals here. He took a gallon of gasoline, threw it on the back wall of the shed. What happens when you set a match to gasoline? Boom! It explodes and came back at him as a fireball. He dropped the can, fingerprints and all, and left the scene. So the back of the shed has to be torn out, because there's two rooms, if you remember, in our storage area. It used to be one big room, but it's now two. Sometime in the 1990s, they made it into two rooms as storage. So that outer one will have to be taken down, just demolished. And the inner one, we're going to make, that will be the new outside wall for the time being. And the Housing Corporation, when it's time to decide what the plans will be for what they want to do with that space, it'll be up to them. We're leaving the foundation intact and so forth. So actually that's kind of where we are. We're working with the insurance company, who has been really, really good to work with. They've anticipated our needs. And what's going to end up happening is we believe we'll have enough money to remove the outer shed and build a new building right out here. So we'll have an annex of our own that'll look like a red Connecticut-style barn built thanks to the fire. So my standing joke, for those who haven't heard it, is when he gets into prison, I'm sending flowers and a thank you note. Because it should actually cover most of that construction. Plus, we're getting reimbursed for anything that was lost in the fire. All of our Christmas decorations are that we bought new and all part of another part of the claim. So and any labor that we're doing as volunteers, they are counting that and they're paying us to do the labor. So, and because we have a deductible, so of $5,000, so any labor that we're doing is getting deducted off of our deductible. So they've been really, really good to work with.
I just want to add onto that, he had talked about building or something, a new shed, garage, barn, whatever we're going to call it. And Dan Osmond is going to take the lead on meeting with people to get some input on what we should be doing. And so I'm going to, on behalf of Dan, say, if you have any interest in what this looks like, how big it is, how small it is, what color it is, what kind of foundation it has, or whether it has a cupola on the top with a weather vane, you're all invited to talk to Dan. And I think we're going to be pushing Dan to try to get everybody together very soon rather than later, because we'd like to kind of get going. If we end up going one of the routes that I think is quite reasonable, they would build it on site, but it's about an 8-week lead time. So if we told them today we wanted to do something, it's going to be another 8 weeks. And if we wait until April or so, it's not going to be until the middle of the summer before we get something built. So we'd like to. Father Ron said, you know, builders are scheduling for now, so, are for scheduling now for this summer. This winter, getting cold out, isn't it? Anyway, that's all I have.
Question?
Questions?
Yes. Do you have any plans for the bathroom?
Do I have any plans for the bathroom? No, as a matter of fact, Father Ron, Steve Lundrock, and myself are meeting with Joe Dickerson, the architect, on the 14th of this month to start developing plans for the bathroom. It is, right now, there's not enough funding to do the bathroom, but you know, maybe once we have plans and we post them up here like this, like say, hey, this is what it could look like and what we could do, maybe we'll get a little more interest in trying to help fund that. That's going to be an expensive proposition. Something we need, there's no doubt about it. But
Anything else on the wish list that?
That's the key thing on the wish list. We're still working on. We still have some funding available to finish doing some rewiring of the church. We've done some, but we have a lot. We have some more to do. We have the whole balcony area that needs to be done, plus a few other areas. Is there anything else on the wish list besides the bathroom that we haven't really
I
gotten?
think we'll have to see how much, I think the money we have collected to do the front of the church for Steve should be sufficient, but if not, we may have to, that night we can go back on the wish list.
Right, yeah, we
Say it out loud so people at home.
we may need to, we think we have enough funding to cover the cost for finishing the baldacchino, the canopy, and the cabinets and so forth. But we could end up running a little bit short, so we may need to end up looking for some additional funding. I don't think it'd be overly significant, but we're still in the process of doing the work and working at getting that finalized. Anything else? Any other questions from the peanut gallery? No? Okay, I'm done.
There is one other little project that we're taking on. One of the pedals is broken on the organ. And fortunately, thanks to some gifts of a couple of particular individuals, the solution is not just fixing the one pedal, because we have them come in. We have to take out the entire pedal, the entire thing out, and have it rebuilt, because it's fallen apart. And we, thanks to some individuals, that I won't embarrass them and say names, but they're in this room, we have raised the money to do that project as well, to take that out. I mean, the wish list, the organ is gonna need things, so, you know, that's a biggie, but we don't know, but in the bathroom, if we really get that moving, that would be amazing to do, because we have to put in water there. It's all about water around here in Beaver. That I'm learning very quickly. I think we're ready to move on to financial reports. Barb? Barbara.
Everybody's getting tired. I'll try not to keep you too long, but a huge thank you to everybody. We stood here a year ago and told you we had a deficit budget of about $28,000, and we ended the year as close to budget as we possibly could. We brought in over $20,000 with our, what we called our supplemental gifts and pledges, and you guys were just phenomenal. Thank you. Every time we turn to you, you amaze us. We couldn't be standing here with all these ideas and all these reports without everybody's support financially, your time, your treasures, your talents. You guys are just amazing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I had a lot of things to say, but I think we're going to skip through a lot of it. All of our reports are in our annual booklet that you have. I think it starts on page 35. And we've supplied you with reports that our finance committee and our vestry go over every single month. Everything is updated, all of our income from pledges and fundraising, et cetera, is tracked. All of our expenses are tracked, and we all really work very hard to put our heads together and keep us as close to budget or ahead of budget as we can. And you all support us, and we're a whole team here, I think. Speaking of our finance committee, I'd like to personally thank Father Ron. He's phenomenal, and part of it is his faith. We can do this, and I'll say, I don't think so. You all prove me wrong every single time. We come out way ahead. Our bookkeeper, Jean Kowalski, works with the diocese and Father Ron and myself, and her knowledge is just incredible and keeps us all in touch. Amy Stone helps me every single Sunday count the offerings and things, and kind of helps me keep grounded, I think, is her biggest job. Our finance committee is our wardens, Marcia and Dan, Kurt Kramer, Father Ron, John Ostrout. We meet monthly. Joan Cherney. We meet monthly, and occasionally Candace has joined us. We're open to anybody. We're happy for any input at any time, and join us. It's really an interesting journey. It's unbelievable, but it's a fun thing, and we talk about a lot of things besides finances. Thank you to everybody who really helps keep us all together. We're going to need more help in the future. This is my last year as treasurer. This is my 6th year. It's going to be hard to give it up. So if you'd like to start learning now, I'd love to have some new people come in. There's no reason why we can't break the job down into different categories. We can have somebody pay bills, somebody be in charge of income, somebody work closely with diocese. If nobody volunteers, I'm going to be knocking on your door or making phone calls. So think about it, and think about joining us and finding out what we're all about. In our booklet, it tells highlights of all of the wonderful things we were able to do besides pay our bills. And outreach was phenomenal this year. I'm going to refer to the booklet again on page 20. You can read through all of that. I don't have to reiterate everything. We had a mite box collection during Lent, and we were able to send about $750 to Africa for the wells and things that Olakada Kande, the drummer that had come to us several years ago, we haven't forgotten them, and our mite box campaign really came through very, very nicely. We helped with the Juneteenth celebration and made a donation. It goes on and on. We opened a money market savings account this year that brings in over $100, sometimes close to $200 monthly. So that's really helped us forge ahead. I think Kurt and Father Ron had mentioned we opened a new CD or a new endowment with our requests, donations and requests. We started it with $5,000 that we had received funds from this Commons Development Group, and that, like they explained to you, will be used in the future towards clergy housing. We've really gone ahead with a lot of that. We paid off our diocesan loan that we've been paying for 4 or 5 years, and that's saving us over $400 a month. Steve Wells started us with Frontier as our phone and internet carrier. We've saved almost $200 a month because of that change. So really, it's been a very prosperous year in many ways, and really because of a lot of people that stepped forward. At the end of the year, we repay our land loan agreements. Each $1,000 is repaid by $100 per year times 10 years. And this year we were able to pay 2 years. We wrote out checks in the amount of $6,400, and we're hoping with a good year that we can maybe this year make another payment even before the end of the year. So again, thank you. And we had 3 people turn their land loans into donations to us, which gives us $24 extra $100 in the long run over our 10-year period. excuse me. We closed out our RERA account. We had the River East, Resettlement Alliance group that we were the fiduciaries for, and they had very successfully helped a family, and a group has taken over the funding and things and hoping to help people that are affected by the changes in the outreach and the help that they were getting. So we were happy to be a part of that. And I think that kind of recaps everything for 2025. John Loach is our stewardship chairperson, and he asked me to thank everyone and tell you that because of your responses, we've came so far. I'd like to just touch on our 2026 budget. We're looking right now at a deficit of about $11,000. We're hoping for more pledges to come in. Last year we had 81 pledges for about $191,000. This year so far we have 71 pledges, and we're about $174,500. We have quite a few people who have not pledged yet, and that's a very personal thing. If you haven't, just because you have forgotten, we still have pledge cards available in the back of the church. We have some here in the hall. A phone call, whatever helps. And if you're not a pledger, thank you for your offerings. We went far beyond expectations last year with our offerings, and we're looking forward to another very good year. Before I leave, I do have not bank statements, your statements, end of the year statements from 2025. We're trying to save on postage, and I tried to harass as many of you as I could, but I still have quite a pile here. See me before you leave if I haven't handed it to you. And if you don't get one today, I'll have them in the back of the church for next Sunday, and then we'll mail the remainder of them. We also have envelopes. If you have not asked for an envelope box for your offerings weekly, you can see me. We have extras. I don't have them available today because our bookkeeper would have to give you a special number. But see me if you would like boxes of envelopes too. I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful year, and we're looking forward to another great year and new people to join us. Please think about it. It's fun.
We're coming toward the end, very close now, but we want to do a recognition of our two wardens that have served so honorably for these past years, so I'm going to invite them back up here to the front. And we have a cake here, so we need some cake cutters. And the cake simply says, "Thank you, Marcia and Dan," and also we added, "and to our wonderful Claire." So, we thought she was gonna come, but she wasn't able to at the last minute. So we just want them to come up here. There's some cake to cut, but there's a couple of gifts that we have for you, and we want them back. And I will explain why. Open this up. Nope, it must be. Come on, just tear it apart. Pretend you're a 5-year-old kid.
Prayer book and a hymnal.
And why we want them back is because we're getting them engraved. With their name. So thank you so much for your service. They have just done an extraordinary job these past years. So I think they deserve a good round of applause. I know I could not have done my job without these two great people. Thank you. Now I'd like you to open your program up to page 40.
because now we're gonna talk about elections, where we are with elections and where we stand with elections. And then I think we'll be almost ready to close, and then you guys can have some cake and some more desserts. You're more than welcome to continue to stay. On page 40, our slate of officers, the vestry has put together a slate of what people are eligible for. Our two wardens elect have been nominated are Gail Kataja and John Loge. Gail is in the hospital unexpectedly as of yesterday. Not in the hospital, she's home now?
She's home.
Oh, but she went to some health thing. Okay, whatever it was, she's home. That's good, but when she contacted me, it sounded a little more that she was in a place, so sorry for that. John Loge is driving right now to be with family in Florida, so he's unable to join us as well. But those would be, we're putting those two forward as our nominees for warden. Barb has one more year of treasurer. Kathy Gerke has one more, we have another year of clerk. So those would be our four officers that we're putting forward. And then the list here these are returning vestry members that are not going to be up for re-election because they still have terms. However, there is one open seat for the vestry. And so we're just taking nominations from the floor. If there's anyone who is called to serve on the vestry. Tom Atwood is raising his hand to become a member of the vestry. So Tom has put himself forward as a candidate. Do we have to do anything more than self-nominate? No? Thank you. Okay. Former clerk and current clerk say no, so that's good. So now our ballot is complete for vestry. And so I would ask for a motion to accept the slate of those being elected for our vestry for the next year.
So moved. Second.
Kim Sullivan moved, and who seconded? Pam Atwood seconded, back to Atwoodville back there. Have seconded.
Thank you.
More discussion on vestry members. All those in favor of the election of our slate, say aye. Aye. Are there any abstentions? Are there any noes? So unanimously, again, we have agreement on our vestry slate. We now move to another office, that is convention delegates. And we need 2 delegates to serve at our upcoming diocesan convention, which is October 23rd and 24th. So we're taking nominations from the floor for 2 people to serve in that capacity. Last year, Kathy Gerke and Victoria did it. It was 1 year that they have served, so I don't know if they would like to.
Do it again.
Are you interested in again? So we have Victoria and Kathy interested in that. I think when you go 1 year, you're just kind of getting used to it. So, Kathy, I'm going to write it down. Victoria. Kathy and Victoria. Victoria, the delegate. But in case one of them or both of them can't come because of something, we also electing 2 alternate delegates. Are there nominations anyone would serve as a possible alternate in case they can't serve at convention?
I don't know if it's within the rules, but I got an email asking to be an alternate, but she had surgery, so she's not available to be here today. Joyce Agnew.
Joyce Agnew, who relatively new member, would like to be an alternate.
She would like to be an alternate.
Okay. She's wonderful. She's a wonderful new member, come to us this year. And it's wonderful also having some new people that are stepping up in this role. Other people, any other nomination? We need a second. Joyce Agnew is one. A second alternate, anyone?
I'll get it.
Kim Sullivan, okay. So we have Kim and Joyce as alternate. Okay. All right, so we have our slate of guests for our offices to serve at diocesan convention. Could I have entertain a motion to move for the delegates? Joanne Osmond moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Kath Talbot, seconded. Any more discussion?
All those in favor of those going to serve for, in this position, to vote yes in favor of the slate, say aye or raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So we have our delegates done. Now it is required by, I don't know why, but it is, I think it's a Robert's Rule of Order, that the last action has to be taken by the clerk.
What is that for?
You have to prove what we just did. Election, you have to just prove that you approved what we just did, the election.
The election, the slate of officers has been fulfilled,
And then you vote yes.
and I vote yes.
It's a requirement that the clerk vote yes, and for, just certify the election, that's what it really is. So with that, I think we're ready to entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody have a motion to adjourn? Kat Talbot is moving that we adjourn. A second?
I'll second.
Okay, Atwoodville is very active tonight. Second, all those in favor of adjournment and having some of this cake as a dessert? Aye. Any opposed? Then let's just do a closing prayer. Gracious and holy God, you're doing something wonderful in this corner of your realm. You brought together a real family of people, not just people who come and walk in the door to pray once a week, but people who are dedicated to the life of this community inside our walls and beyond our walls. We can't be more grateful for what you've done in our lives. We hold before you each and every person here, for those unable to be with us, for those who are watched and visit us online, and those who will be able to see this later. And we give you great, great thanks for the enormous gifts you have given each and every one of us, and most especially for the greatest gift of all, your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ, who through his gift of self-emptying for us has given us eternal life. So let us leave this place, and the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon each of you and remain with you always. Amen. Will the deacon dismiss us one last time?
Let us go forth in the name of Christ. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Thanks be to God. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.